Welcome back, travelers. I'm glad to see you made it. I'm Colo, and today I've got a couple of Baldur's Gate 3 related topics to talk to you guys about. You may have already heard the news about a modder who found the actual modding tools, the developer tools for Baldur's Gate 3, but in case you haven't, here's a quick rundown. Before that, though, I want to shout out another content creator named MrHulthen. I actually found out about this situation from his channel. He made a video talking about it the other day. He read through the IGN article about it and gave some pretty good thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to MrHulthen's video in the description of this one. Definitely check out MrHulthen's channel, though. He does really good work, and he has a freaking awesome beard, which is definitely important. The general gist of the situation is that a modder named Sigfree released a mod called BG3 Toolkit Unlocked on Nexus Mods. This toolkit grants modders way more of the actual developer tools than the officially released toolkit does. In theory, these dev tools would allow modders to make pretty much anything in Baldur's Gate 3, including brand new companions, brand new whole maps or campaigns, quest lines, and stuff like that. They're going to have all kinds of options, which is incredibly exciting news when you think about it, because that means that Baldur's Gate 3 could technically be a forever game. You could just keep having people make new campaigns, new characters, blah, 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 and it could basically be Skyrim of the CRPG world where you just can play forever, basically. But there are a few caveats we should talk about as well to try to limit the hype, keep it in check a little bit. Firstly, the set of developer tools is not officially supported in any way by Larian or Wizards of the Coast, who actually owns the IP for all of Dungeons & Dragons. So the modders working on these dev tools don't have any official help whatsoever if something goes wrong. They have to figure it out on their own. They're not even allowed to discuss the dev tools on the official Larian Discord server. They're not allowed to talk about it. So they went out and made their own Discord server, which I went and joined. We can already see a couple of progress updates here, which I think is really nice of them to provide. It looks like at the moment, the modders are currently working on dialogue issues, constructions, and material editing, with the following update reporting some exciting progress for both dialogues and version control. So, if any of you watching this are interested in modding and you haven't signed up for this BG3 modding Discord, I recommend checking that out because you might be able to help them figure out the tools, or if you just want to keep up with the news about how it's going like I am. I don't know the first thing about freaking making mods, so I'm worthless on that. But I do want to keep up with the news so I can keep you guys informed. For a slightly less hype word of warning about this DevTools situation, I'm going to go ahead and keep my hopes pretty low for full level editing and companion quest lines because of the fact that the dev tools are not officially supported, but also mainly because of the fact that this little product was just recently announced. Project Sigil is an upcoming virtual tabletop made by Wizards of the Coast that is going to include various models and textures from Baldur's Gate 3. It will allow for custom maps and campaigns to be created and played online, and you'll be able to build and edit entire levels, even including things like traps and functional elevators. So, not to be the freaking Debbie Downer doom and gloom guy here, but this definitely looks like the Baldur's Gate 3 modders accidentally may have stumbled across something that would almost entirely remove the need for players to pay Wizards of the Coast money to use Project Sigil, which will be almost the same thing for a lot of people. Both are going to let you do level editing, both are going to let you make campaigns and new characters and stuff like that. The difference being that Project Sigil, in a lot of players' eyes, is going to be inferior. The paid version will be inferior to a lot of people because it's a virtual tabletop. You're playing with game pieces. This is not a video game. Now, for a lot of the tabletop players, it's too close to being a video game for comfort. A lot of people are saying, whoa, this has too many video game elements to it. But for a regular video gamer who is not familiar with tabletop very much, it's easy to look at Project Sigil and be like, well, this just looks like Baldur's Gate 3 level editing, but worse. So I could easily see Wizards of the Coast thinking the same thing, seeing these Baldur's Gate 3 mods as a threat to their upcoming product and potentially slapping mod authors with cease and desists or lawsuits or, anything like that. I hope like hell that I'm wrong. I hope that these mod authors never get any word from Wizards of the Coast. I hope that they are allowed to carry on making whatever amazing creations they want to make. And I hope that one day we get to play those creations and then I get to make a video talking about how awesome that is, rather than the alternative of me having to make a video talking about Wizards of the Coast shutting this stuff down. I really, really hope they don't do that this time. But I just wanted to give you guys the facts because this is something that may end up happening. I don't want people to be blindsided. Definitely something to keep in mind. Next, I want to shout out a couple of the mod request ideas that I've seen on the subreddit for Baldur's Gate 3 modding, which I think would be awesome to have. The Redditors Shogun Caliend and Maximum Rip 1175 both want a mod that will keep your action bar icons from disappearing, either when you remove the item that's granting you that ability or lose the buff that's granting you that ability or whatever. And honestly, I couldn't agree more with this request. Anyone who has ever played a throw build of any kind in Baldur's Gate 3 has felt this pain. You set up your action bars and then throw your throwing weapon, which is designed to be thrown, and immediately all of that weapon's abilities disappear off your action bar. Even if the weapon itself immediately returns to your hand, the freaking abilities get wiped off the bar and your action bar is already screwed up. So that's pretty infuriating. If your whole build is based around throwing a weapon and having it return to your hand, it sucks when you have to redo your dang action bar every time that happens. Or, what I would wager that 99% of people do, is they just stop setting up their action bars and they play the rest of the game with a suboptimal action bar setup because there's no sense in redoing it every time. It's stupid. So anyway, not a huge deal, but it would definitely make the game much better if this got fixed. I think this is a problem that's just a lot of people would love to see fixed. I actually personally left a mod request on the subreddit also. I would love to be able to select which of my spellcasting stats gets prioritized for items and scrolls. One of the biggest freaking gripes that I have with this game is the camera. First of all, the camera sucks. Anyway, the fact that if you're running a multi-class build that uses two classes that have different spellcasting stats, like if you want to do a sorcerer wizard multi-class, you have to take those classes in a specific order in order for your items and scrolls to use the correct spellcasting stat when you cast them. And I personally think that's ridiculous. I think it would be much better if you could just select from a checkbox, okay, this is going to be a wizard cleric hybrid that I've come up with, but I want it to use intelligence for casting all of my spells from items and scrolls. Now, I'm not even advocating in this situation for, the cleric spells to be castable using intelligence. It's fine if the cleric spells still use wisdom, but just taking a 1 level dip into a cleric should not completely change the gear that I'm wearing and the scrolls that I'm reading to use a totally different spellcasting stat. That, to me, that's crazy. So any of you modders out there who can do this, I actually think it's already available on Nexus mods. I would love to see a version in the regular game mod manager. If this gets made, I'll love you guys forever. Y'all are the best. Just as another little bit of a word of warning for anybody who maybe hasn't played since patch 7 came out, a ton of people have been having issues with their game not starting, not running properly because of mods that they had installed previously or whatever. I've personally seen a bunch of different strategies for fixing this. Not sure exactly what's working for everybody. I myself ended up deleting pretty much everything Baldur's Gate 3 related from my PC. I deleted all the save files, everything. I lost everything. It was my choice because I was impatient. Deleted the whole thing, all the freaking folders and everything, the hidden ones, all that junk. So I had nothing left. And then I deleted the mod manager that I had and re-downloaded Baldur's Gate 3, and that worked for me. Now, I'm aware most people don't want to take such freaking drastic measures because you might have a save file you want to reload or whatever. I gave up all that. I understand you not wanting to give that up. So let us know down in the comments if you've heard of any good information for fixing mods on patch 7, or as I learn new information about it, I'll let you guys know. That's all for today though, travelers. Let us know down in the comments if you've had any issues since patch 7 released, or if there's any other mod ideas that you would like to request. I'd love to have you guys post your ideas for mods in the comments down here, and then maybe if I get enough of them, I can make another video calling out your guys' suggestions to the public. I think that'd be pretty cool. But anyway, as always, I am glad you got to see me. Do your best to stay alive out there. Until next time, see ya.